The animals don't really have a decent life in zoos. It's nothing compared to the life they would have in the wild. Their lives in zoos are boring and unleisurely. They do not have the space they would have in the wild. For example, big cat animals have 18,000 times less space in zoos, and polar bears have 1 million times less space than they would have in the wild. When an animal is stressed, frustrated, and doesn't have enough space, you see a stereotypical behavior. At times, the animal goes back and forth and sometimes does a head swipe up, and elephants will be swaying their bodies. Big cats sometimes pace and follow the fence enclosure in a special route, over and over. In studies by Oxford University, scientists revealed that in zoos, lions spend 48% of their time pacing in a stereotypical way, and 40% of all elephants in zoos act upon a stereotypical mode. Sometimes, an animal is going so mad they need to be given drugs to calm down. It's not just the space that influences the animals' bad lives in zoos. It's also the environment. In the jungle, a wild chimpanzee lives among large trees where he can jump and climb. In zoos, chimpanzees only have about a small playground to stay in, and they will get fed up with it in about a day. I think that animals that are used to being in a big environment and travel very far should especially not be in zoos. For example, elephants can at the most walk 80 kilometers a day, but a zoo doesn't have that space for an elephant. In zoos, there are animals from all over the world, and different places have different temperatures, like a camel and a polar bear, but the zoo can't provide all the different temperatures, so I don't think these animals should be kept in zoos either. But why should we care about the animals' life in zoos? Animals are living things and have rights just like people, which means that they should have a good, safe home too, with plenty of space, food, and water. The animals in a zoo can come from different places. Sometimes the animals breed by moving, for example, a male tiger to another zoo to breed with one of their female tigers. In special circumstances, zoos bring animals from the wild, and usually small animals such as insects and small fish. An example is the aquarium at London Zoo, who has overseas collaboration with the Philippines, from where they receive wild fish. The zoo intends not to destroy the reefs by taking care of the marine life. We can't actually learn a lot of things about animals in zoos. This is because animals don't act the same when they are in a cage being prisoners than what they would do out in the wild when they are free. The animals aren't happy in zoos, and therefore they become mentally disturbed, stressed, and frustrated. Animals can start biting the bars on their cages and banging their heads against the wall, and this is described as zoo madness. The predators can't hunt in zoos, and some birds' wings are cut off, so they can't fly. Some think zoos are used for taking care of endangered animals so that they can reproduce and later be reintroduced into their habitat in the wild. But in a report, year 2000, we found out that only 5% of the animals in UK zoos are endangered, and 1% of the endangered animals are let out into the wild again. Only 2% of the zoo's endangered species in the world are registered in the zoo's breeding program. This shows that zoos don't do extremely much to help the endangered species. Why do we have zoos if the animals are treated so badly? We still have zoos because we are tearing down a lot of the Earth's environment so that we can create space for ourselves. This leaves less room for animals and plants, so zoos gives home for a lot of animals. This isn't the only reason though. Some have zoos just to earn money by people visiting the zoo and watching the animals, just for amusement. Do I think zoos should exist? In my opinion, zoos shouldn't exist, Because animals do not have a happy life in cages, they become physically and mentally destroyed, and it's very selfish of us humans to do this to the animals. I don't either think breeding zoos should exist, because they actually don't help the endangered animals. Like I mentioned before, only 2% of the endangered species at zoos in the world are registered in the breeding program. I suppose safari parks can exist, because the animals walk around free in a very large enclosure and they live among themselves, so they have to hunt and survive by themselves.